Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Film Club podcast, where every week me and Miss Boo bring a movie to the table. Some are good, some are bad, but it's always fun here at the Film Club. Miss Boo, how are you?
I'm doing good today, Dean. How are you doing?
I'm doing really good because today is the first day of your journey into the world of anime that I've been trying to get you to go on for years because you hate anime.
I don't hate anime. It's just
Yes,
it's
you
not
do.
my thing.
She absolutely despises it, but
And Dean is a pathological liar, so do not believe a word he says.
this month, Miss Boo, we will be doing something special for our audience because it's going to be our Animation Month.
That's correct.
Yes, where every week of this lovely month we'll be talking about a different anime film. Now, as per usual, I brought today's pick. You're going to bring next week's pick.
I am, and originally it was just going to be kind of, an animation month where it could be any form of animation, but I decided, why not rise to the challenge? Let's watch some things that I've never seen before.
Because you don't watch any anime.
No, not really. So, for this month, there's 4 weeks, means 2 picks apiece for us.
Yes,
so,
there is.
3 out of the 4 movies I have not seen.
Only 3 out of the 4.
Only 3 out of the 4. There's only 1 that I've seen
Oh, that's
on the
right.
list. So
That's going to be our finale film.
that will be our finale, but it's going to be an interesting month.
It really is. And we're starting off with today's movie, my pick, which, if nothing else, it's an interesting film.
Okay.
Wow, what a savage. So, this month's pick, I believe I previewed it last week.
You did. You spoiled it last week, but in case people missed the ending of our episode last week, why don't you tell everybody what we're going to be doing for today's episode?
Oh, I'm so excited. So, today's episode is going to be the 1997 Satoshi Kon debut film, I think a masterpiece, Perfect Blue, which, Boo, you just saw this movie, right? First time ever seeing it?
Yeah, I stayed up till about 3 o'clock this morning watching this film because I had to do other stuff for the podcast.
Good eye.
Yeah.
But I got a question. Should we put a trigger warning for the audience on this one?
Yeah, we might need to slap one on there.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, so this movie is going to deal with some things up to and including mental health, detached reality, murder. There's some very... it's not graphic, but there is a rape scene in the film, or a simulated one.
It's a simulated scene, yes.
And yeah, there's some very adult NSFW shit in the film.
Yes, so if you have children that are into anime, this is not the one for them.
No. Granted, most people saw this when they were like 12 or 13 because anime in the 90s,
Yeah, and I was shocked by that scene when I came across it. I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah, because you went into this completely blind, right?
Yeah, I went in completely blind. You've been talking about this film for years, how much you really love it. Mm-hmm. So I never really looked into it, and coming up on this episode, I still wanted to go in completely blind. Mm-hmm. No spoilers, and I was shocked.
You were shocked?
I was shocked.
Well, Miss Boo.
Yes.
Want to jump into the film?
Let's do it.
All right, so... for the elevator plot synopsis thing, so the audience kind of has an idea of what we're talking about. Do you want to give the shot, or should I?
You probably should, because the character is a little bit better than I do.
Just a hair. So we have our main character, Mima, who is a pop idol in Japan. This entire film takes place in the contemporary 1997. So...
and she's the lead singer of a pop group called Cham.
Yes, and she is deciding to leave the group, and she's going to become an actress in this police drama that's going on for television.
Very SVU-like.
Yeah, exactly. She's basically going to do Japanese SVU, and this is supposed to be her big break, and there's this whole backlash because of her fan base doesn't want to see her as an actress. They only see her as the pop idol.
Yeah.
But no, and she has this very creepy, crazy stalker person that's obsessive about her. And as she is transitioning from her old life as Mima the pop idol into Mima the actress, she starts to lose touch with Mima the person.
Yeah.
And starts to kind of spiral into this kind of very strange, like, loss of sanity and loss of identity. And there's also a string of murders that we're not sure if Mima's doing it, if the stalker's doing it, if like who's committing all these murders of the people around her.
Yeah.
Is it something where it's a vengeance thing against her? And it's a very interesting and in-depth film, and it culminates in one of the most visually stunning like chase sequences in like anime. Like I know there's probably some that are actually more like visually interesting, but I love the editing and all that stuff in the third act. It's fantastic. But yeah, it's a very good movie. But Miss Boo, I think it's obvious that I very much enjoy this film.
Yes.
I want to know your thoughts, because I asked you on the way over to record this, did you like the movie? And you said, wait till the podcast. Well,
exactly. I can't spoil everything before our episodes.
It's true. Now I need to know. Did you like this movie at all, or did you hate it? Because usually you hate anime.
What do you think?
I think you probably fucking hated this movie, because it's a Dean movie. It was really weird, confusing, and it's kind of a pretentious film.
How much do you want to bet on it?
Now none, because I think now you love this movie because you're trying to get me.
I mean, you never know. You might have a sure thing where I might hate this movie.
I don't want to play it. Okay, what did you think?
You love betting, so why don't you bet me some Starbucks?
Starbucks? All right, I'll bet you 1 iced tea lemonade. How's that?
That sounds good to me.
All right, so I'm going to say you loved this movie now.
I don't want to wager that bet anymore, because I did love this movie.
Oh, shit, it happened. I told you would like anime if I found you a good one.
But you still owe me Starbucks.
Of course I do. As, you know, it happens.
But yeah, I ended up really liking this movie. The copy that you have, because I know you just bought it on DVD.
Yes.
Recently when we went to Frankenson's.
Because I think I actually have it with me right here. Because it is the 20th anniversary edition of the film that got released on Blu-ray. And I found this at Frankenson's, which, by the way, also saw Post Malone there this Saturday buying Magic cards. This past Wednesday buying Magic cards. So.
And I wanted to go with them. I could have met Posty.
Posty with the mosty. But yeah. But
so about that DVD, is it dubbed?
Yes. I only watch my animes dubbed because I'm a stupid American. Letting you all know now, dub is superior than sub.
Okay, because I wasn't able to find it dubbed. I had to watch the original version with the subtitles.
Okay.
At 3 a.m, tired, making sure that I couldn't look away from the screen or else I'd miss something.
And Boo is kind of famous for looking at her phone for like 30% of every movie she watches.
I got stuff to do.
Yeah. You're like the worst person to go to the theater with, but whatever.
Oh no, in a theater, I don't text, I don't look at my phone.
You do take pictures of the Star Wars logo for Instagram, though.
That's different.
Yeah, totally different.
That's different.
Totally different.
But to go back to the movie, I really enjoyed it. It kept me on the edge of my seat the entire time. Mm-hmm. I really thought it was going to go one way, and I was completely blindsided by the ending.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because there is a mystery thriller aspect to the film.
And I love, mystery thriller suspense movies. Mm-hmm. So I think that was probably the perfect way to transition me into these movies.
Yeah.
And yeah, I really enjoyed the story. It would have been a lot easier if it had been dubbed.
Yeah.
Because, you have the subtitles and everything, but they're not always correct in the phrasing when they like retranslate things.
Yeah.
So that's why I was kind of like, okay, they mean this, they mean that. But
you had to do some minor interpretation of the subtitles.
Yeah. But I'd like to see it again in a dubbed form. Mm-hmm. But even in its original form, it was good.
Oh yeah.
I enjoyed it. I don't know where you want to jump in from here. If you want to go storyline, characters,
anywhere with this movie. Like, I could talk about like Satoshi Kon, the director, mm-hmm. like forever, because he's one of my favorite directors. At least he does at least the movies he makes, I can definitively say are like just tuned into like, mm-hmm. this is some Dean shit. Like, I love all this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that this is very much a Dean movie, but in a good way.
Yeah. This isn't Eraserhead where Boo had nightmares about that film.
I didn't have nightmares, it just drove me crazy. I heard that song like every day for, I don't know, a couple of weeks. It just kept playing over and over.
Yeah, that's the best part about a Lynch movie. It sticks with you. But yeah, Satoshi Kon, I'm a huge fan of him. He's done literally the greatest OVA of all time. is, I believe, based on his work, or like he either wrote the script or he directed it, and it's the segment of Memories called Magnetic Rose, which I'm gonna have to hook you up with. That's just Prino.
Okay.
And then he's also done like Paprika, Millennium Actress. All of them are great films. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of his work. A lot of it is because he kind of deals with the same kind of themes in this movie, because this is his debut film. He actually wanted to do it as a yeah, he actually wanted to do it as a live action film, but that money ain't happening.
And I was talking to my mom earlier about this movie, and I had said it was a really good story, and it would have been great live action. And maybe someday, we're 25 years down the line, maybe someday this could be made live action.
We kind of got the live action version. Have you ever seen the movie Black Swan?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, this movie and Black Swan are... Now, Darren Aronofsky will never admit this in public, but yeah, basically, large chunks of Black Swan are borrowed from Perfect Blue. There's one shot I know that is a direct 1-for-1, and that's the screaming in the bathtub.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that one's a direct 1-for-1, and the storylines are vaguely similar. But yeah.
Maybe
great.
That's why it felt a little familiar when I went into this. But I really kept thinking, this would be amazing live action. I mean, even if you shot this, like, on location...
In 1997 Japan.
I mean, come on, we all want to go back to the 90s. But,
that's true.
You know, going back to Japan, and it's just, you know, architecture and, you know, the beauty of Japan, that would be quite something. Even if it was, like an all-Japanese cast.
Yeah,
that would be so cool, because the story is very strong. It's very entertaining. You know, it kept my attention. I wasn't kind of like, oh man, you know, I'm so bored, I gotta get through this movie, because it's a long movie.
Is it?
It's like an hour 30 or an hour 20.
Well, that's not a long movie. 90 minutes is like baseline. Like, that's baseline movie.
But from someone that doesn't watch anime, I mean, the most anime that I watched was Pokemon as a kid.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm used to, like, episodes that are, like, 20 minutes. So versus, like, a full-length feature film, I didn't really know what to expect. But it was really good.
Yes. Finally, I got my girlfriend to enjoy anime. I can die happy now. But yeah. But...
So sadly, the goals that you have.
You know, you gotta set your goals kind of low, so at least they're mildly realistic. But yeah, so why don't we get into the characters? Because I don't think we can talk about the actors per se, because we saw two very different performances, right?
Yes, we saw two very different films. I don't really remember a lot of the characters' names. I mean, I just know, like, you know, Mima and Rumi. And I'm not sure if Tadokoro is he like the male agent or the male
Yeah, I believe he's the male agent. There's also how did you feel about Mr. Myomania?
He was creepy.
Super creepy.
Super creepy.
Is he the definition of every woman's nightmare as a stalker?
Yes.
Okay.
But it also, when I kind of went into this movie, right off the bat, you see them performing on stage. Cham, you see them performing on stage, and Mr. Stalker is there. He is part of the security intel that's, you know, guarding the band while they perform. And he just does this creepy thing with his hand where, I mean, it's a great shot.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, from his perspective, she's, you know, basically dancing and performing in the palm of his hand.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, you know, I'm like, if she dies in the end, or if there is in fact a stalker, it's definitely this guy.
You're like, in that moment, you got everything you needed to know about this character.
Yeah.
Everything.
Right off the bat.
He's not obsessed with the woman. He's obsessed with the woman, the performance that this woman is putting on. He's obsessed with the character.
Yes, with the persona.
Yeah, and that's like, that is such an interesting thing, because this movie's made in 97, where people who had like personas were famous people.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, they're putting on an act in front of, like, you know, TMZ, the cameras and stuff like that. We're not really seeing, you know,
the actual person.
But now we're in 2021 where everyone has a social media, and they're portraying maybe not a different version of themselves, but a more, let's say, heightened version of themselves on social media, right? everybody is guilty of putting a filter on their Instagram selfie to like clean up some stuff.
Or you use the Photoshop app if you know how to use it.
I mean, there was one guy from the convention that we went to recently that showed us his Instagram. That man is a master of Photoshop.
Yeah.
Ooh.
We're not going to talk about that too much.
Okay.
But yeah, I totally agree with that. You know, everyone has a persona. And I mean, that's kind of what you do online because you could be anybody online. Mm-hmm. And
that's actually a point in the movie.
Exactly. And that's what our character struggles with. You know, she's transitioning from one persona to another and she's feeling like she's torn apart between the two. And it's kind of like, well, and really, who am I?
Yeah, and she's losing the sense of the who am I, the woman that actually is just, she lives in this little apartment in like the middle of Tokyo.
Which I like that, you know, we see her on stage and she's in full, you know, concert getup, and then the next frame is her in very much regular clothing going grocery shopping and buying milk, buying food for her fish, and it's just kind of like, yes, you know, you've got this huge following, people are, you know, devastated that you're leaving the band, but at the end of the day, you're still a regular person like everybody else.
Yeah.
And it's creepy to see that, well, it's in 97, right? Or it's mid-90s?
Yeah, mid-90s.
You know, so we're, you know, having the internet being introduced, and there's a fan page or a page made about her. And she
Mima's room.
Yeah, and people, you know, she kind of brushes it off in the beginning with, you know, oh, it's whatever. But then, you know, these really, really specific details start being put on this website.
Where they're like blog posts from the real Mima, where there's like almost diary entries and stuff.
Diary entries, there's pictures of her shopping and her, you know, oh yeah, you know, this is the fish, the food that I get for my fish, or, you know, this is the only kind of milk that I buy. And it's like, you know, now on social media, people will plug their favorite products. And
people will literally step by step record their day on social media.
They will record it, or they get sponsorships with people. So it's like, hey, I do drink this. But back in the 90s, that really wasn't a thing unless you were doing commercials.
Yeah, again, that's the interesting thing. That's why this movie, I think, it is aged like a fine wine. Where in the 90s, it's like, oh, this is relative to like people who have like a certain status things. And it's like, as the audience, we're looking at somebody who is in that weird stratosphere of fame, quote unquote. But now it's like we're looking at Mima and we like, yeah, this is a higher echelon of fame, but we can relate to that on a more personal level than before because it's like, wait a minute, this weird thing about like people online who have like are like chat rooms and stuff like that, who are like doing these weird posts and stuff like that. Like, this is almost like she's going on Reddit and she's being creeped out at the creepypasta about her, right?
Well, I mean, considering before she even got her computer, she had just a fax in her apartment, and she gets a fax saying, what, traitor? I think that's...
something, yeah.
In my version, it popped up as, like, traitor, like, a bunch of times. And then, you know, she gets that letter from somebody in the crowd when she's getting into her car saying, I love watching you in your room.
Yeah.
And it's just...
how so creepy.
So creepy, and her manager, Rumi, kind of brushes it off, and it's like, oh, you know, well, it's this online site about you, so it's not like they're actually watching you, but she's actually being watched in different ways, because Mr. Megafan follows Mima, not just from the stage. He follows her throughout her career of acting with this show, and he always manages to find her. Doesn't matter where she goes, he's there.
It's the thing about that stalker and that celebrity obsession and that weird like culture of celebrity obsession. I think, like, you know what I'm talking about,
right? Oh
yeah,
where people think that they know these celebrities and they get defensive about them, and it's like, I gotta be with them because we know each other, we're friends, or we're more than that. And it's like, no, you don't. You just know a face that's on TV, or somebody that you see on stage or in a magazine. It's like, you don't actually know this person.
Yeah, it's kind of the thing where like streamers, I guess, you know, like PewDiePie is a famous person, you know, an example, where some people have a feeling, well, I watch all of his streams, I see what he does, like, I know this guy.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. But you don't know him.
Yeah.
You know the persona he streams as for like X number of hours.
Yeah, exactly. Like I watch a lot of live streams on YouTube because YouTube's a lot easier to watch than regular cable. You could just put on whatever. And I've actually met some of the vloggers that I watch on YouTube, and it's surreal seeing them in real life versus, seeing them on your TV or your phone. But even in real life, it's like they are very much real people. They're going to do what real people do. And it's like, you kind of got to leave them alone. You can, be polite and go up and say, hi, nice to meet you. I love your content. But you're not best friends with these people.
And that's when we get into the weird stalker people.
Yes.
Which this character is the worst kind of stalker. He's the kind that gets violent. And
it's a rough scene.
Oh, at the end?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's this whole thing where it's this... Oh, man. It's really hard to describe, like, Mima's arc, because this movie goes all over the place in terms of, like, her spiral into, like, basically, like, a psychotic break.
Yeah, because, there's a couple of times where I'm thinking that, well, there are murders in this movie, and I'm thinking, is Mima really out there killing people? Is she that far gone that she's just murdering people and doesn't remember?
Yeah, is she literally developing, like, this split personality where it's Mima... the icon versus Mima the person.
Yeah, because basically in this movie, Mima kind of, turns into Norman Bates a little bit, where she's one person, but there's also another person living inside of her. And it's like, well, we can't really give her too much crap because the real Mima has shut off and someone else has kind of activated.
Yeah, and I mean, that's a thing where we're assuming that's what's going on throughout a lot of the movie. And then when we get the reveal at the end, and that's just
I was so
there.
shocked.
Right? Really?
Yeah. It wasn't what I was expecting.
It's true. I've heard a lot of people complain about the ending of the movie where they're like, it comes out of nowhere. I'm like, not really. But it is one of those things that's not telegraphed super obviously throughout the movie.
Yeah.
But you can kind of pick it up.
Yeah, I had to sit back and think about it, and I was like, okay, I missed some of those warning signs. I kind of, like, brushed them off. I mean, I was blindsided. I enjoy the ending. I think it's a really good way to end it.
Also, like, the shot of her running against the mirror.
Yeah.
So good, right?
So good.
Oh, I told you, boo. That.
I mean, just even the initial shot when she's in the apartment, the simulated apartment, that's not her apartment.
Which, how creepy was that?
That's so creepy. That's like... That's got to be, like, a worse dream for everybody. You're so used to your daily schedule... You wake up and I'm home, but I'm not really home. And then you look outside and no, you're definitely not home.
It's the thing where... So Mima, like, faints at a television thing after she's been attacked by Mr. Stalker.
Yeah.
And Rumi takes her to her apartment.
Rumi's been her manager for who knows how long.
Since her career started, Mima wakes up and she's in her, what looks like her apartment.
Yeah.
Fish are there, the posters are up, the bed's made, everything looks exactly, more or less, like Mima's apartment.
And what got me, and I knew that something was wrong, was the fish were dead.
The fish were dead in Mima's apartment, and she had a whole, like, breakdown.
The whole tank was full of fish, and also the poster of her band, she had taken that her first scene when we see her apartment, she took that poster down and put it away.
Yeah.
So a lot of her memorabilia that she had taken down was back up again, and I'm like, that's not right.
And then she opens the window, and it's the big reveal. Spoiler alert for a 20-something-year-old movie. Rumi comes out, and she reveals that she's actually the one. She has this weird... So, okay, Rumi's crazy, right?
Yeah, they say whatever term it is, and I can't think of it.
It's like she developed a split personality, and it's like the Mima personality.
She's really the Norman Bates of the movie, where she thinks that she's Mima to the point where she dresses like her, and it's a great reveal when we see Mima in her concert outfit, and then in the mirror right beside her, it's Rumi. Is that it? Yeah, Rumi. Yeah. In the same outfit, and it's just like, oh my god, you're the person doing all of this.
Yes. Also, by all of this, we have to talk about one of the most brutal murder scenes in cinema.
Oh yeah,
you talking about bad. The screwdriver?
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, I felt that
screwdriver scene. Oh, It's
Yeah,
horrifying.
because Mima, when she decides to be an actress, it's not only, hey, I'm going to start acting. People are also start approaching her to model. So she goes with the photographer, and it's, well, this is a great shot. Can you open this? Can you take off a little bit more? Let's do a little bit more. And it's just like...
It's the weird thing about when she goes with a photographer, it just escalates into her basically just posing very nude.
Very completely nude. And as a photographer, I know that it is a thing with, with male photographers where they will try to get people out of their clothes. And it's like, you're there to do a job, and you're there to make...
you photographed people naked before?
I have, but you always ask for permission. You never pressure somebody into doing that. Mm-hmm. So I know that photographers do get a bad rap for, you're just trying to get me nude. And it's like, no, if you're doing a certain project, you talk to people first. You don't kind of, just...
Well, that's the crazy thing, because the scene that follows that, where Mima's like breaking down in her apartment, where she's like, I didn't want to do it, but I didn't want to disappoint anybody.
Exactly.
Because she's monologuing to herself there, and it's so weird that we only see like real Mima when she's completely alone. Any scene where she's with somebody else, that is a performance.
Yeah, and that's why it's like, I felt so bad for her, because I am a photographer, and I have worked with people in the nude, and I've heard stories about people that, like her, have been pressured with, I don't want to upset this person, and they've done this and they've regretted it. And it's like, you really, really have to make sure that you're taking care of the people that you photograph.
Yeah.
Because even if she is a celebrity and actress, she's still a person. You do not want to pressure somebody into doing something that they do not want to do. And man, does this photographer meet a brutal death.
Oh, yeah.
Because, I've seen anime clips, I've seen Pokemon, but I've never seen a murder in an anime, and my god, that was so gory.
Yes! Yeah, this isn't even the most gory anime you could find. Like, I'm gonna be real with you.
I'm sure, but I wasn't expecting this.
It is interesting, so, because we talked a lot about the movie, but I kind of want to know something a little bit more, because, Boo, you've never gotten into anime at all, right? And
Pokemon.
Just Pokemon. And Pokemon's literally the only anime you have any fondness for, and that's mostly because of childhood nostalgia stuff, right?
Oh, yeah. I was the perfect age for Pokemon when the cards landed here in the States.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much my entire education in anime. So, yeah, this has been eye-opening.
Yeah. So, now that you've seen Perfect Blue, would you be interested in watching more anime outside of this?
Yeah, I'd be interested in watching more.
Okay. Now, Boo, I say this because Satoshi Kon has a lot of great shit, and I'm going to show you a lot of it.
Yeah.
But before we hit the wrap-up, is there anything you really want to jump out and talk about? Because we talked about the characters, talked about the plots, we talked about some really cool scenes. But is there anything in particular you want to poke at before we do the wrap-up here?
Because, there's a lot of interesting scenes. I think maybe we should talk about the final showdown with her actual stalker.
Oh,
with
God.
the mega stalker.
That scene is amazing, okay?
Because, not only... I'm sure, like, a lot of actresses, that's probably, like, a huge fear of being alone in a studio and being chased down by somebody. Mm. And, which we've gotten that, like, in Scream 3.
We've had that in a lot of slasher flicks.
Exactly, and... yeah, it's terrifying because at this point you don't know if Mima is actually conscious or if this is a dream or
how much of this is real, how much of this is an hallucination. At that point, we're not even completely sure the stalker's real.
Yeah, because he just keeps appearing and she panics and she looks back and he's gone. Mm-hmm. So it's like, that was kind of my thing of, is this really happening? I was trying to, for my sanity, I'm sitting there and I'm like, is this happening? Or am I like the character and I have no idea what's going on?
Yeah. It works so well because the editing in this movie is so out there and it's great.
Yeah.
But on the note of the scene, the showdown with the stalker, so they have that showdown with the stalker and it's in the And the film that they're making, that Mima's starring in, well, she's not starring in, she's got starring in it.
It's the TV show.
It's the TV show. They're at a set where it's supposed to be a strip club. And the story is that Mima was a stripper who gets assaulted at the club, and then that the stripper character has a psychotic break and starts killing people, right?
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a parallel as to what's going on in the story.
Yeah.
And there's the very rough simulated rape scene that happens in the show.
Yeah.
And then when the stalker character gets a hold of Mima, it's almost paralleling the shots that, the false rape, and he's going to try to do it for real. And it's very, like, unsettling, that mirroring, because then that's where I'm starting to think, is this just her having that break and she's just transposing her boogeyman character in her head into the worst scenario she can think of?
I mean, considering the stalker is very upset with her for, like, what did he tell her? Like, you're bringing dishonor to the
her
real
name.
To Mima's name.
Yeah.
And then he goes and tries to rape her, and it's like, what? I'm like, what even is that? Like,
it's so weird, because the stalker characters has this whole weird obsession for the persona, but he doesn't care about the person.
Yeah.
And he's also under the assumption, I guess in his own mental mind space, that the real Mima is this amalgamation of things on the internet, because he's being communicated by somebody claiming to be the real Mima.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if he's just raping her as like a thing where it's like, oh, I'm gonna like defile you, like defiled her name before I kill you.
Yeah.
Which is a whole other weird can of worm shit.
Yeah.
But Mima manages to get away before anything happens.
Yeah,
Thank the Lord.
Mean, she gets him with a hammer to the head.
Yeah. And then, like, we find out later that Rumi, like, kills him and then, like, hides his body when Mima comes back. Because that's when Mima faints.
Yeah.
After her interaction with him, she goes back with Rumi to try and show her, it's like, there's this crazy guy here, and where he was supposed to be lying there unconscious or dead.
Yeah.
He's not there, and that's when we're like, oh my god, this woman is absolutely batshit.
Mm-hmm.
And then she wakes up in the apartment, and that leads us into that great finale, that reveal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, your thoughts on... I want to know your thoughts on the ending shot. Or the ending, where she looks...
Where she's visiting... or not visiting Rumi, but...
Well, she goes to see Rumi at the mental asylum. I'm talking about after that, when she sits in the car and breaks the fourth wall and just looks dead in the camera.
That was pretty cool.
Okay.
I like that.
You like that?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that showing that Mima is crazy? Or that none of this is real and that was all in her head?
I mean, I think we're all a little bit crazy.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think she broke the fourth wall, and who knows? Maybe they'll do a sequel 25 years down the line. We never know.
Well, unfortunately, we can't get a sequel to this film because, unfortunately, Mr. Satoshi Kon passed away in 2010 from pancreatic cancer. So, Lasai, but...
Really good movie.
Very good movie. I have not seen a Satoshi Kon movie I didn't like. But, with that sad news, why don't we wrap this up and tell everybody the much more happy and kid-friendly film we'll be watching next week.
That's right. We are going to be watching a more kid-friendly film, and this is actually inspired by a couple of my younger cousins because they really enjoy this movie, and I thought, why not, jump into this and see if I like it.
And also because it has a cat in it.
Does have a little black cat in it, just like mine. So next week we're going to be watching Kiki's Delivery Service.
Oh, buddy.
And it's my first time watching it, so I don't know what to expect.
I mean, it is a Studio Ghibli film. It's a Miyazaki film. That's some high pedigree.
From what I've heard, yes.
Yep. Well, I'm excited. Can't wait. It's going to be my first time seeing that film as well.
Oh, I thought you would have seen it.
Well, Kiki's Delivery Service is one of the Miyazaki films I haven't seen. I've seen, like, a few other ones, Spirited Away and Howl's Moving Castle, those ones.
Totoro.
Yeah, My Neighbor Totoro. I haven't seen this particular one.
Okay.
Which is going to be fun.
So be prepared next week. It's going to be a brand new film for both of us.
It will be.
And if you want to follow us on social media, you can find us on Instagram and Facebook at the Film Club Podcast. And if you want to listen to us on a different platform, We're on Apple Podcasts, Anchor FM, Spotify, and just about everywhere that podcasts are streamed.
And depending on when I stop being lazy, soon, very soon, you will be able to find us on the YouTube channel In the Frame, along with our sister podcast, other podcast I do.
Yeah, our sister podcast, the Double Feature Podcast.
Yes, you'll be able to find that there. There will be a little bit extra content there if you enjoy. But yeah, Boo, I think that's about it.
Yeah, so if you don't have access to these podcast sites, we're going to be on YouTube soon, which I'm excited for.
Me too.
So, we'll see you next week at the Film Club.
Peace.